Good evening, everyone. I am so thrilled to have everyone gathered here tonight to honor 4 remarkable individuals that have contributed so much to Penn State Brandywine. For those of you who I haven't got a chance to meet yet tonight, my name is Caprice, and I'm the Director of Athletics here at Penn State Brandywine. Thank you all for joining us to celebrate our 3rd Hall of Fame induction class, made up of the late Lloyd, Vernon, Nick Gallo, Jeff Danzi, and Kyra Zibbleman. Give a round of applause for that. It is so exciting to not only have our guests here tonight, but so many former student athletes, coaches, family members, and people who really supported them and cheered them on throughout their time. In addition, we have 3 previously inducted Hall of Famers that are in our crowd tonight. Tiz Griffith, Bill Wiley, and Dana Johnson. It's so great having you guys here. We always appreciate you coming back and supporting the Hall of Fame. We love having you guys. For those of you who maybe haven't been back on campus in quite some time, we hope you like the changes that you've seen. In 2008, we did a name change from Delaware County to Brandywine. I know it's still a touchy subject with many of you that were here back in the Delco days. But 10 years later, we became a residential campus. Today, we have 260 students living in Orchard Hall. And that same year we became residential, we opened this brand new, gorgeous student union building. Along with the campus, Brandywine has continued to advance, growing into the largest and most successful athletic department in the Penn State University Athletic Conference. We've won 25 conference championships in the last decade, in addition to 2 USCAA national all championships. Tiz was cheering before I even got it out. I love it, Tizzy. But in addition, we've had hundreds of student athletes who've earned awards for their academic and athletic prowess. However, our growth has expanded beyond our wins. Our focus as a department is on the retention of our student athletes and preparing our graduates for life beyond graduation. This fall, we kicked off our athletic mentorship program, pairing upperclassmen students with a mentor in a career field of their interest. This program successfully launched this fall, and we are continuously building our pipeline of mentors. So if there's anyone in the crowd that has a passion to mentor young student athletes, we would love to connect with you. In fact, at this time, you all have an information card in the back of your program. I'd love to give you a quick minute to complete the card so that we can stay connected with you. You all have some pens on your table as well. When you guys are done filling out your card, feel free to just leave it on your table. My staff will come around tonight and collect them. We appreciate it, as well as your name tags, which you can leave on the table later. So next, I'd like to take some time to thank our program sponsor, Albert Socha, and his family for supporting the Hall of Fame. Without their generous gift, much of tonight would not be possible. Albert sponsored tonight's event and the Hall of Fame for the next several years. Albert was unable to make it here this evening. His daughters have a basketball game, so I told him we understand that. But when Albert was here on our campus, he played for Hall of Fame coach Bill Wiley on our men's basketball team. He graduated from Penn State in 1993 with a degree in business logistics. Albert has served on the Brandywine Advisory Board for the last 4 years, and I just want to publicly acknowledge Albert and thank him and his family for their generosity. So please join me in a round of applause for Albert. At any point tonight, you all have the opportunity to give back to Brandywine Athletics. On your table is text to give information, as well as in the back of your program. Our fundraising efforts this year are focused on enhancing our live stream capabilities. For the first time this year, we've had broadcast announcers announcing select games on air. Our goal is to have 100% of our games with a broadcast crew for next year's school year. As we continue to enhance our out-of-state recruiting, it is important that we continue to have a strong live broadcast to elevate our game experience virtually. We are even using this platform tonight, right now, to stream to so many of your family and friends and members of our campus community that couldn't be with us physically tonight. Our 2021 Hall of Fame induction ceremony had over 250 people watching live, and I'm sure our viewership is just the same tonight. So once again, I thank anyone who's able to contribute tonight to our initiative to help enhance our live streaming capabilities. So at this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Marilyn Wells, our campus's 5th chancellor. Dr. Wells joined us in January 2020, and since her time here, she's been a vocal supporter for athletics, and we appreciate her vision and leadership here. So, Dr. Wells?
Thank you, Bobby, and welcome to everyone. Are you having a great time? Well, let me tell you, you are in for a treat for the rest of the night. Every university and campus has their traditions, their signature events throughout the year, and since this started in 2020, this has quickly become a highlight of the year at Penn State Brandywine. And let me tell you why. The stories you will hear tonight from our inductees and our presenters and our guests really capture what I call the it factor about Brandywine. Those attributes, those qualities, those experiences that have really made your athletic experience, your academic experience, your social experiences extraordinary, and in many cases have been transformational in your own lives. So the stories you hear tonight, I can assure you, capture what makes Brandywine so special. So I want you to sit back, enjoy your dinner, enjoy the program tonight. Of course, I thank all of you for being here, as well as those who are joining us through this world of live stream, El Socha, and everyone else. And if you're compelled, again, give back to support the future of athletics. But this is a really special night, and you're special for being here, and thank you, and let's enjoy. And let's give it a, we are Penn State. Great, thank you, enjoy.
All right, so now the buffet line will be open. Our staff are going to come around and call you up to the buffet line, table by table. So sit back, enjoy your meal. We're going to have a slideshow of pictures coming up here. I'm sure it will bring back many memories to you all. And for those of you watching on live stream, I hope you have your favorite meal in front of you. Sit back, enjoy it, and look for us around 7 o'clock to reconvene with the official start of the program. Thank you so much. Enjoy your meal. right, everyone, dessert is being passed around. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. So feel free to use the restroom, grab another drink. Dessert is being served, and we'll get going. Also, there was a bracelet found in the bathroom, in the women's room. So if you lost the bracelet, it's at the coat check. All right, see you in a few minutes. Hello, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed dinner, and I'm sure you're enjoying that dessert, Penn State Creamery ice cream. You can't beat that. We have ours upstairs in our Blue Apple Cafe. If you're ever by, feel free to come by and buy some creamery ice cream. You don't have to drive to State College for it. You can get it right here. But I hope everyone had a lovely meal. We are going to get started with our official program. I do want to thank Brandywine's catering service. I don't see Neil in the room, but Neil, Elizabeth, and their team, they do such a great job. We appreciate the ability to have a nice event like this right here on our campus. So thank you to our staff handling tonight. We greatly appreciate it. A lot of planning goes into the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And I do want to quickly thank some key people around campus that made tonight possible. So Over here, our development and alumni relations staff, Marlene Livingstone and Sarah Daly. Round of applause, yeah. Our strategic communications director, Bill Tyson. And behind the camera, our IT director, Justin DiMatteo. I appreciate you guys for all the behind-the-scenes work, as well as our staff in the athletic department, Jeff Scarpone, assistant athletic director, our recruiting coordinator, Maisha Matos, and our staff assistant, Monica Wouters. Thank you, guys. We couldn't pull this off without you. So lastly, I do want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, and specifically the chair of our Hall of Fame committee, Vince Scrunchy. Vince has been with us for, is it 25 years? Are we over 25? Oh, 27. Woo! Yes, we thank Tizzy for bringing Vince to us. But there is no one better to lead the Hall of Fame than Vince. He's seen it all over the last few years. He's so dedicated to our athletic department, and we are so appreciative for Vince. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Vince, and we'll get going for the reason we're all here. Vince Scrunchy.
Thank you, Bobby. I thought I saw it all until last week when I saw two basketball players simultaneously vomit during a timeout. But yeah, I guess there's always room for something new. Good evening, everyone. Chancellor Wells, member of Student Affairs, University Relations, former coaches, athletes, and former Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you for being with us this evening during these dicey times. It is my honor to present to you the 2022 Hall of Fame class for Penn State Brandywine Athletics. This is the third Hall of Fame class that we'll be inducting, and it's truly amazing to see our former student athletes, coaches, faculty, and staff gather to celebrate the pride of being associated with Penn State Brandywine Athletics. Our previous Hall of Fame inductees kept Penn State a part of the fabric of their life long after they graduated. That theme continues this evening with our inductees. Before we start the ceremony, I would like to acknowledge the dedicated members of our Hall of Fame committee. The task of selecting a Hall of Fame is truly a team effort. I sincerely thank each of the members for their commitment and their dedication. Here is the committee. Unfortunately, not able to be with us this evening is Barb Rostick, who represents our faculty. Barb dedicated many years as a professor of kinesiology before retiring from the university. Even after retirement, Barb continues to support Brandywine Athletics. Representing past administration is former Penn State Brandywine Athletic Director and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee Tiz Griffith. Tiz? Earlier this week, we had Winter Storm Izzy pass through the region. We are fortunate enough to have Hurricane Tizzy as part of our team. Tiz's passion has not faded for Brandywine Athletics, even as she enjoys retirement. And she did want me to tell every single one of you tonight that she still has that sweater that is in the picture. Representing the current staff is Assistant Athletic Director Jeff Scarpone. I'd like to thank Jeff for his dedication to keeping the accurate records and digging up all of our past statistics in our videos. I have no idea where he found this stuff. I think he cyber-stalked all of you, so you might want to check your computers. Representing men athletics is head basketball coach and the voice of Penn State Brandywine basketball, Vinny Gallo. Chenzo continues the tradition and theme of former student athletes who come back to the pride as a coach and mentor. We wish Vinny luck as he seeks to bring Penn State Brandywine their first basketball championship this spring. No pressure, Vin. Representing women's athletics is head women's basketball coach Larry Johnson. Coach Johnson is the longest tenured coach in the Penn State Athletic Conference with 20-plus years of dedication to Brandywine athletics. If you're not aware, Larry dedicates whatever spare time he has following in his father's footsteps, volunteering at the Media Youth Center. Earlier this week, the Media Youth Center received a $1 million donation to rename the center after Larry's father, Louis Jumbo Johnson. Coach, we thank you for your commitment to our athletic department and continuing the legacy of your father. And before we begin introducing this evening's class, I want to give a special thanks to Athletic Director Bobby Caprice. Bobby's dedication and leadership through the pandemic is the reason why we are here this evening. Putting an event together like this we have this evening is tedious and a stressful task. We are so fortunate to have you leading our endeavors. Thank you, Bobby. Now let's begin with the inductions. Our first nominee this evening is another fine example of a former student athlete coming back to the Pride. Lloyd Vernon was a student athlete for Penn State Delco from 1972 through 1974, in which he captured the men's singles tennis championship for the Commonwealth Campus Athletic Conference. As many of our former athletes do, Lloyd has Penn State in his blood and returned to Penn State Brandywine in 2010 as the head tennis coach for the men and women's teams. Coach Vernon led Brandywine to more than 40 match victories in over 20 individual conference championships. Lloyd's greatest accomplishment came in the 2011 season as he guided the tennis teams to an undefeated season and a conference championship, giving him the honor of Coach of the Year. Lloyd's coaching motto was, implementing a coaching strategy to bring out the best of each player's ability has proven successful while having fun during the process. If you have the desire, you will get the attention to reach a significantly improved level of play and the satisfaction of being a better player who won more matches. Unfortunately, life isn't always fair or just, and Coach Vernon lost his courageous battle with cancer at the young age of 56. Lloyd was a true gentleman, a generous person, and a loyal friend to those who knew him. Each year at its annual awards banquet, Penn State Brandywine presents the Lloyd Vernon Heart of the Lion Award to an athlete that the staff believes exemplifies Lloyd's pride in Brandywine, his work ethic, his kindness, and joy for life. To induct Coach Vernon into the 22 PSU Brandywine Hall of Fame via virtual message is 2020 Hall of Fame inductee Dan Duran.
Penn State Brandywine Hall of Fame. Sadly, Lloyd passed away in 2015 after a 9-year battle with cancer, which didn't slow him down a bit. Lloyd left such an impression on Penn State Brandywine that they named an annual award after him, the Heart of the Lion. And he had the biggest heart of all. I met Lloyd as a freshman. He was in a class of mine. I was also a tennis player, and I was the coach. He was a good player, playing #1 on our tennis team. And I referred to him as the Union tennis ball. Everything on the court was returned from his opponents. He tore his opponents down just by the sheer number of returns, and obviously won most of them. We would spend 2 years at this campus and transferred to the University Park, graduating with a business degree. We stayed close over the years. Lloyd introduced me to his brother Mark, and the three of us skied, fished, and spent family time together. Now, Lloyd was highly competitive, no matter what the sport or endeavor. We decided that we were going to play tournament doubles. I was in my 50s, Lloyd was a little younger. We played at the 5-on level. Now we were doing pretty well. We had two of the tallest tennis players I've ever seen, and they were playing quite well. I was taking chances, trying to cut balls across the court, and a few of them got by me and went down my out. We made a few friendly remarks, and I commented, or he commented first, and I couldn't possibly have had those. My rebuttal was that at age 21, I wouldn't have had those shots, even if I dove for the ball. So in the next series of shots, one went down my alley again, and one word was on my mind: dive. Well, on the way to the hospital, we did a bit that we shouldn't have reinforced the diving concept. Now, Lloyd was also competitive in many other areas. We were both avid fishermen. And Lloyd, myself, and his brother were fishing under the bridge at Cape May, between Cape May and Wildwood. Each of us trying to outdo the other in casting distance. There was a fishing hole about 40 yards out. That's where the big ones were. We were sure of that when we were casting that far. I got a super cast, for sure big was going to take my line. Well, a couple minutes, then my line started to scream. Lloyd came over, pulled his knife out, and said he was going to cut my line. I relayed, "Don't you dare, I am landing this monster." Lloyd and Mark were now laughing, and Lloyd said I had no chance of ever bringing this fish in because it weighed 2,000 pounds. So I hooked a vehicle up on the bridge, the Lake James Ford Bridge, and that's why my line was screaming. I was trying to reel in a 2,000-pound car. That was good for a number of laughs. Our families were close, and Lloyd was dedicated to his wife, Lana, and they shared a love for pets, cats, and dogs, which they rescued quite often. In his last couple of years, Lloyd returned to campus to coach the tennis team, and I had the privilege of being his assistant coach. I watched an incredibly talented coach mentor each of his athletes. His help was failing, but he never let it interfere with his coaching charisma. He had a great outlook and sense of humor. We lost a great coach, a university advocate, and I lost a good friend. Lloyd, we will always remember you as the heart of the line. Thank you.
Accepting on behalf of Lloyd Vernon this evening is his wife, Rhonda.
Whoa. As you know, I'm accepting this award on behalf of my husband, Lloyd Vernon, who passed away in 2015 after battling colon cancer. I'd like to be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember many of this tennis match stats, who won, who lost, whether the women did better than the men. I've just never been very good with numbers and statistics. But I do remember some things that I think were just as important to my husband as the tennis stats. I remember how much he loved the school. He would spend his free time going to high school tennis matches to try to recruit students for Penn State Brandywine, not just because he wanted good tennis players, but because he thought so highly of this school. And we would go to the athletic fundraisers where he would buy so many raffle tickets I felt like we were stacking the deck in our favor. We would walk away with so many raffle baskets we couldn't even carry them all. I remember how much he cared about his team as more than just tennis players, but as individuals. He was always concerned about players and how they were doing overall. He wanted to teach them about more than just tennis. Don't get me wrong, like Dan said, my husband was very competitive, and he liked to win matches, but he knew there were other things in life that mattered as well. He wanted his players to succeed in every aspect of their lives, not just tennis, and he did his best to help them when he could. I remember him telling me that when they would run drills on the tennis court, he would run with them and yell to them not to let an old man with cancer beat them. He wanted them to know that you can rise above your circumstances if you work hard and maintain a positive attitude. I also remember him offering tennis lessons to support staff who wanted to learn to play and just having some fun doing that. He gave as much of himself as he could. I also remember how good others on this campus were to my husband. The last year he coached, like Dan said, it was obvious he was very sick. But no matter, he wanted to coach, and the athletic director let him coach. With Dan Duran's help and the help of the support staff, they made it through the season. And the players that year were good to my husband as well, as every year. So understanding that the coach wasn't well, they might not have had the best tennis stats that season, but because of the caring people at this school, I'm going to get through this. My husband could do what he loved, coach tennis for one last season. And that says a lot about the character of the people on this campus. Lastly, I can assure you that because of my husband's love for this school, his love for tennis and coaching, and his concern for his students, this award would have meant the world to him. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this award says to me that my husband's life mattered, what he did mattered, and he'll never be forgotten.
Our next inductee this evening was a 5-year member of Penn State Brandywine's club ice hockey team. During his career, Nick Gallo tallied 116 points in 126 games. That's nearly an average of a point per game. For those of you that are unfamiliar with hockey, that is a remarkable feat. Nick spearheaded Penn State Brandywine's hockey team to 4 conference title games and a conference championship in 2005. In which he was the leading scorer. Another one of Nick's personal accomplishments was becoming the second leading scorer in the Delaware Valley Collegiate Hockey Conference during the 2003-2004 season. Nick was the ultimate team player, making those around him better. To induct Nick into the 2022 Hall of Fame, please welcome former Penn State Brandywine ice hockey coach Paul Gilligan.
So I have 2 very distinct memories of Nick. I was hired in December after the team had already played about 16 games. I didn't know anything about the team. I was a high school coach at the time. I knew that the team was in 4th or 5th place. I didn't know if any of the players were on the team were any good. I didn't know what they were like. So we scheduled a meeting before we played had our first practice. This is where my first memory of Nick comes in. At the meeting, I find out that we have 9 forwards, 4 defensemen, and a goalie. My high school team had more players than that. So I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell are we going to play college hockey with 13 skaters? Ryan Sell stands up and says, the team counts on Nick to score goals, and they count on me to put players through the boards. Little did I know how true Ryan was. Ryan put plenty of people through the boards, and Nick scored plenty of goals. Our first game was a road trip to the Naval Academy. When we were coming home, I stopped at the gas station, and I called my wife, and I said, I love coaching college hockey. And we had, on our team, we had 2 forwards, Nick and Ryan, that were terrific. We had 2 defensemen that were terrific. And we had one hell of a goalie that ended up being a 2-time All-American. We had 9 players that were tough as hell, just tough. They did anything that you asked them to do. There wasn't a soft player among that group. We ended up finishing that season with 11 straight wins. We made it to the league championship. We lost 2 games to 1 to Berks. The next year, we had a pretty good recruiting class. We had a full team. We had more than 20 players. And I thought that with the better players, this was going to take some of the pressure off of Ryan and Nick to score. It's hard to score when the other team coach knows that all they have to do is put their best defensemen and their best forwards out and try and shut down 1 or 2 players. I do it all the time in coaching high school. If there's somebody on the other team that's an immediate threat, we put guys out there to shut them down. It didn't matter. Even though we had more players and teams were still trying to shut them down, Nick scored more goals that year than he did the year before. The team ended up going 29-3. It resulted in us going to the American Collegiate Hockey Association National Championship in Pittsburgh. 14 inches of snow, by the way. The ACHA has about 160 to 180 Division III teams. The top 16 teams go, and we went as the 16th seed. Our first game was against Calvin College, which was a small Christian college in Michigan. We were losing 2-0 after the second period. We scored 2 goals to tie the game. We're getting game starting to wind down, and I look at my assistant coach. I said, you know, if we go to overtime, we're going to win. They're not going to score on Jeff, and Ryan or Nick is going to score. Well, neither of those happened. They didn't score, and we didn't score either. So the game goes to overtime, or to a penalty shot. So we're going to decide the championship game on penalty shots. This is where my second memory of Nick comes in. As we're picking out, I already knew that Nick was going to shoot, and my assistant coach and I were trying to decide who the other 4 shooters were going to be. Nick comes to the bench and says, Coach, I don't want to shoot. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? You're going to shoot. And he said, I'm too nervous. I don't want to shoot. So this kills our plan. And so my assistant coach and I are trying to decide what we're going to do. And I said, we're going to keep them on a list. We'll make them shoot 5th. Hopefully we'll have scored. They're not going to score on Jeff. And maybe we won't need Nick to score and everything will be fine. So after 4 shooters, we're losing 1-0. Nick has to go out there and shoot. If Nick doesn't score, the game's over. Of course, Nick scores. And so the penalty shots go on. We eventually win the game 9 shooters later. So Nick Gallo played 126 games for Penn State, Delaware County. He scored 116 goals. He had 80 assists. That's almost 200 career points. I coached Penn State, Delaware County, now Penn State Brandywine for 14 years. We had some really good teams. We had some really good players. A lot of our players made the ACHA All-American team. But we never had anybody that scored goals like Nick, ever. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the first hockey player in the Penn State Brandywine Hall of Fame, Nick Gallop.
Thank you, Coach Gilligan, for the introduction, and congratulations to my fellow inductees. Thank you, Bobby and the Hall of Fame committee, for putting this special night together. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to be part of the Penn State Brandywine Class of 2022 Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you all so much for being here to share this occasion. When I received the call that I was nominated to be in the Brandywine Hall of Fame, I was truly taken back. I had never dreamed that I would be part of something so special. Over the past several weeks, waiting for this night, so many memories have surfaced. All the big games, championships won, some of the great players I had the opportunity to play with, and the coaches I had to play for. Like many athletes, my career started early as I began skating at the young age of 4, following in my older brother Tommy's footsteps. Tom, raise your hand. My brother is the one who started this lifelong passion for the game. Between my brother and I, both playing for school and club teams, our family lived at the rink pretty much year-round. I was on the ice 4 to 5 days a week, and when I'm not on the ice, I was shooting pucks in the driveway and in the basement. Dad, sorry about the dents in the garage door and all the holes in the wall in the basement. This accomplishment is not something I did alone. There are many others who contributed to my success. I would like to thank all of my former Penn State teammates, especially those who made it out tonight. Gentlemen, please stand. We have Jeff Wild, Brian Hurley, Tom Fisher, Ryan Mead, and Brian McCoy. I have a lot of great memories with these guys, not only playing for the hockey team, but also on campus. We spent just about every day together, going to class, hanging out at lunch, going to the gym, practice, games, and of course, parties at the hockey house. Hey, Fisher, remember that one time? Never mind. Don't worry, I'm not going to get any party stories. I need to keep this PG for the audience and my kids. Thank you all for being such great teammates and becoming such great friends. Thank you, Coach Gilligan, for your time and dedication to our team. For those of you who don't know Coach Gilligan, this is kind of a funny story. He used to wear this long black trench coat to the games with his hair slicked back. And I'm fairly certain that his mobster appearance behind the bench was our first line of intimidation against other teams. Love you, Coach. Last but not least, thank you to all the faculty and professors at the Brandywine campus. Your teaching and wisdom was impactful during my time here at Penn State. To my mom and dad, thank you for all your love, support, and sacrifice over the years. I've made so many friends and great memories. I promise to teach my own kids the same core values, level of hard work, and determination that you taught me to be successful. Thank you.
Our third nominee this evening played basketball for Penn State Delco from 1992 through 1994. Jeff Danzi accumulated 964 points during his 2 years of action, which placed him as the campus leading scorer at the end of his career. You have to remember back then student athletes were only eligible to play 2 years because they thought all these students were going to go up and play for the University Park team. As a freshman, Jeff played as an instrumental part of Penn State Delco's undefeated regular season and only missed out on a championship because of a miracle shot by Penn State Abington in the Penn State semifinals. Not only was Jeff a first-team All-Commonwealth campus player, he also excelled in the classroom as he was given the distinguished honor of All-Academic Commonwealth Student Athlete. With us this evening to induct Jeff Danzi into the 2022 Hall of Fame is Jeff's former head coach and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, Bill Wiley.
First of all, I'd like to thank Bobby and her staff for putting on another great night and congratulate all the inductees today. There's an old saying that coaches don't go in the Hall of Fame, that players put them there. And with me, that's the absolute case. And Jeff Danzi is a major reason, and I stress major. I recruited Jeff out of Upper Darby High School with a tip from a friend, and I had a player that was on our roster that played with him in high school. And so I went and saw Jeff play. And you have to understand the landscape. Back then, back now with AAU basketball and the internet and all these prospect camps, it would have been tough for us to land Jeff. But we did. And as a freshman, he came in on a pretty good team, a lot of returning players, and fit right in as our shooting guard and led us in scoring that year. Like I said, we won our first 24, our first 25 win, 25-0, and then we got knocked off in the semifinals. But it was highlighted by a win at the Palestra. We played Penn's JV team that year, and they actually had two guys playing in the JV game that scored in the varsity game that night and were key players for Ivy League championship team. But all those players graduated, and we had so we were really counting on Jeff the next year for his leadership and among other things. After our first couple practices, our assistant coach, one of my assistant coaches, Joe DeMeo, said, Coach, it looks like we're going to have trouble scoring the ball. How are we going to score points? I said, well, Danzi's going to score for us. And then he said, a couple days later, he said, we really don't handle the ball real well. Like, what happens when teams press us? Well, Danzi will get the ball up for us. And then a couple days later, he said, we're not real big. We don't rebound real well. So, well, Jeff's going to rebound for us. So he then said, you better hope Jeff doesn't get hurt. And his sophomore year was just an incredible year, as good as any individual season that anybody's had, because we had to count on him for leadership, to score, to run our offense, to rebound the basketball. And he averaged over 24 points a game that year, and went up against every imaginable type of defense you could imagine, like a box and one, a diamond and one. They denied him all over the court. They double-teamed him. They did everything, and he still managed, like I said, to get 24 points, led us in scoring, rebounding, and assists, and somehow got us into the playoffs as a 4th seed. And when the voting came out, he had garnered the most votes, which is saying something when you came in, for a team to come in 4th place. Let's see. As Vince said, Jeff ended up his career with 964 points and missed like 4 games his freshman year with when he sprained his ankle. So undoubtedly he would have probably been our first 1,000-point scorer in 2 years. That's very, very, very impressive. His competitiveness on the court was the one thing that stood out. We used to stack the deck against him every day in practice and put him with like 3 freshmen in our competition drills, and he won every single time he won. And it even carried over to intramurals when he carried a old, bald, overweight basketball coach to victory a few times in there. Jeff, like we said, Jeff graduated was Dean's List, graduated with a 3.0, and then ended up playing for Cabrini for his last 2 years, and I got to see him play there and was proud to watch him there. It's the one thing you really like when you're coaching 2 years and see your kids advance on and play. And Jeff is very, very deserving for this award, and I'm proud and honored to induct Jeff into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, I put my speech on my phone here, so try and pull this up real quick. So, wow, I am truly honored to be here. I never expected this would happen. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. I'd like to thank Vince, long time. Tiz, glad you could make it. And Bobby, too. Bobby's been excellent through the whole process. I'd like to thank my parents. I was pretty fortunate back then that I had one job back then. It was get good grades and play basketball. So who wouldn't take that deal? So thank you, Mom and Dad. I would like to know if we could renegotiate that deal now. Maybe I can work that deal again, you know. But Billy, it was an honor to play for you. You know, who knew back then that we'd have that magical season? You know, it was. I have a true appreciation for that season because 3 years previous, I don't know if you remember that or not, at Upper Darby, we started 5 sophomores and we were 0-24. So obviously I liked our season a lot better. You know, and that same year we had 3 people score 1,000 points against us. There's 1,000 points. We had to sit there through all these ceremonies of balloons coming out of ceilings. It was, but it gave you an appreciation for when we actually got to what we accomplished. So we did fall a little short, but so I'll just never forget that. I mean, finally, I like to keep my speeches short, but finally, my mom always keeps a scrapbook of all my high school and college newspaper articles. You know, we're going back in the 90s. You know, everything was in the Daily Times or the Inquirer, and she would pull it out Christmas time and show my kids. You know, figuring that they would be a little bit impressed. You know, but and kids, what did you guys say? That's great, Dad. Let us know when you're on the internet or YouTube, and then we'll be impressed. So but that's all. I just want to thank everybody, and I really appreciate it. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Our final inductee this evening culminates the theme of former athletes coming back to the pride. Kyra Zibbleman was a 4-year starter for Penn State women's basketball from 2004 through 2008. During her playing career, Kyra amassed 1,342 points, good enough for third on Penn State Brandywine's all-time scoring list. Kyra surpassed her 1,000th point during a conference championship victory against Penn State Schuylkill in 2007. Talk about a heck of a day. Kyra was a first-team All-Penn State University Athletic Conference guard in back-to-back seasons. I had the opportunity to watch Kyra play during her tenure. She was a special player. She would be the one if Brandywine had a lead that may have been dissipating late in the game. She would always step up, make that clutch basket to secure the victory, doing so with that Zibbleman smile on her face. After graduating, Kyra joined the Penn State Brandywine's women coaching staff in 2008, where she assisted Coach Johnson to another conference championship in 2011. Inducting the birthday girl into the Hall of Fame this evening is her biggest fan, her father, Gordon Zibbleman.
When Kyra first found out that she was elected to the Hall of Fame, she called me and she said, Dad, I've been elected to the Hall of Fame. Would you like to present me, or would you like the night off, and I'll ask Coach Johnson? So fully knowing how much Coach Johnson loves to speak to crowds, I said, well, I'll do it. Fellow Nittany Lions supporters, Hall of Fame inductees, family members, and guests, I am delighted to have been asked by my daughter to be her presenter at this auspicious occasion. As a child, Kyra was the boy I always wanted. A really good athlete who excelled at every sport she tried. As she entered middle school, she said to me, Dad, find me the most basketball you can. As an obedient dad, I did just that. From summer leagues, Maccabi teams, to camps, AAU, we did it all. Going into the summer of her senior year of high school, she was recruited by some prestigious local Division III schools. That same summer, she suffered an ACL injury, and she was devastated. She made it a goal to play sometime during her senior year and met it in mid-January. As would be expected, she did not just leap to the level, play to a level that she was accustomed to playing, and then told me, well, at the conclusion of this season, that's going to be the end of my basketball career. I had been filming some of the games, and I took the opportunity to look at them, and I saw someone who still loved the game. Showed her one of the films, and she sheepishly agreed with me. One of her high school coaches knew Joe D'Antonio, who was the head coach at the time, and the rest is history. When she arrived, Kyra told Coach D and LJ, who was assistant at the time, I'm only going to play here for one season. And they said, okay, well, we'll help you find a new place to play. Needless to say, that was the best thing that never happened. Buoyed by fellow Hall of Famer Dana Johnson, Megan Russo, Brooke Edwards, and high school teammate Katie McRearty, they began the transformation of the program to what it is today. I was very lucky that as a parent I got to see about 90% of Kyra's games. There were many, many highlights, but the penultimate highlight was the scoring of her 1,000-point at the Bryce Jordan Center that was referred to earlier. When she scored that 1,000-point, it was at the time of the game when there was a natural break and they stopped and they blew the horn and the balloons and all that stuff. And she could not understand what all the hullabaloo was about because the game was really close at the time, and she just wanted the game to start up again. As it got close to graduation, it appeared that she'd be a few credits short of graduation. As her dad, I said, you have the rest of your life to work, just do the extra semester. Her answer to me was, if I can't play basketball, what's the use of being in school? So just like everything else, she set a goal for herself and took the required summer classes to graduate on time. As circumstances would have it, fellow Hall of Famer Dana Johnson was assistant coach for Kyra's senior year and decided to step down, and LJ asked Kyra to take her place. This should not have worked. Coaching former teammates her age, Coach Johnson showed why one day he will grace the Hall of Fame, as this move was brilliant. Kyra always had a great relationship with her teammates, and as point guard, they were used to listening to her. She applied the same determination to coaching as she did as a player, and she went on to help coach another PSUAC championship team. It's a little-known fact, but Kyra was very instrumental in recruiting Bobby and Maisha, and I don't know about you, but she should be nominated for the Hall of Fame just for that. As a father, I couldn't be more prouder of Kyra's athletic accomplishments, but more importantly, she's turned out to be a fantastic teacher, a fabulous role model for young women she has coached, a wonderful wife, a superb daughter, niece, aunt, sister, sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, an unbelievable mother, and just a truly amazing daughter. I only wish that my late wife were here to witness this event. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Hall of Fame Class of 2022, Kyra Zibbleman Mignona.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to Bobby and the Brandywine staff who put together this wonderful event. I am honored to join such an elite group of individuals who are in the Hall of Fame here at Brandywine, along with my fellow inductees tonight. Little did I know, Jeff, I also am an Upper Darby graduate, and we were part of that 0 and whatever numbers. So, Penn State kind of, brought out the best in some of us. So glad to hear that you're here with me as an Upper Darby alum. We got a few others maybe? Okay, here we are. And I know there's a Upper Darby on the women's basketball team now, so we'll just keep recruiting them here. I'm very proud of my 4 years here at Penn State Brandywine. The connections I formed with the staff and students, my education, my teammates, and my friends made my experience such a wonderful one. As already mentioned, one of my top highlights was hitting that three-pointer in the corner at the Bryce Jordan Center, and then 11 minutes later, winning that championship with my friends and my teammates. It was something that I didn't really know was going to happen, and little did I know that we got the best of both worlds that day. The women's basketball team has had much success due to the consistency, hard work, and discipline that LJ has continued to put into the program. I am fortunate that I was a part of it as an athlete, as an assistant coach, and as a spectator and a fan. Thank you to my family and friends that are here with me tonight and watching from home. Thank you, everybody.
Whew, what a night. It's such a tearjerker. Am I the only one? Every time I just woo! All right. What a special night it has truly been. On behalf of the entire campus and the athletic department, I want to congratulate Lloyd, Nick, Jeff, and Kyra on this amazing honor. Thank you all for being pioneers for Brandywine athletics. Lastly, I want to thank everyone who's in the crowd tonight, whether you joined us in person or also virtually, to help us celebrate. Athletics thrives off of the support of our community. Whether you are a former student athlete, coach, friend, or family member to an inductee, you are a key member of our team. I hope each of you here today will continue to stay connected with Brandywine athletics. Once again, congratulations to these 4 remarkable individuals that we had so much fun honoring tonight. I hope you reminisced on your time, enjoyed the photos, enjoyed some laughs. I thank you all for coming out, and this was truly a night to remember. So let's end our night the only way that Penn Staters know how. We are! Penn State. We are! Penn State. We are! Penn State. Thank you. All right. Inductees, if you can meet us out in the lobby with your awards, we'd love to take some photos with you. Thank you all. Safe travels home. If you wouldn't mind leaving your name tags